Everything starts with an idea. These are my garbage enclosures I made for my brother's meat market that he's opening up in another few weeks. He asked me if I could make these. I figured it would take a few days, nay, a few weeks, nay, a few months. This is probably the single project that took me the longest so far. You will notice through this video how many different outfits I'm wearing because a lot of this took place on different nights. I tried to work on this an hour or two every night, at least 3 or 4 nights a week. I started out with non-dimensional lumber. I have rough cut sawn red oak that I had to make into dimensional lumber. So I'm cutting all to the width I need, to the thickness I need. I'm running it through a planer, a jointer, then I have to cut it down to size, all to get it to be usable wood. These are all steps that I would not have to take if I just went and bought lumber. I got a bunch of wood off of an auction a few years ago, and it was rough sawn, not thinking how much time it was going to add to every single project that I do. Here I'm putting in some pocket joints. I'm going to put this for the crosses, top and bottom for the frame. As you see from my plan, I was going to frame out corrugated steel, and that was going to go on 3 sides of my garbage bin enclosure, and then on the back was just going to be a solid piece of wood. I ended up pocket joining a few boards together to make it solid. I'm using plywood on the bottom, and I'm using a bunch of scrap wood glued together for the top, and you'll see that later. Pocket joints for everything with some glue. Pocket joints I find are really strong, especially with the addition of glue. Hold up to just about anything you want to throw at it. Got a lot of measuring, a lot of planning. I don't have plans for this. As much as I looked up plans or how to build it, I've never seen anything quite like this ever made. So that's kind of the woodworking I like to do, is if I think of it, make it. I typically don't work off of plans, and that's why sometimes things go a little sideways. But when it's done, it's definitely original. I looked up garbage bins and what the average sizes are, and this by the end is 19.5 inches on the inside to 22 inches, and then 44 inches tall. Here I'm using a special walnut stain. So I stained out the frames that are going to have the corrugated steel attached to it first, because I didn't want to put the steel on and then attach and then try to stain it, because stain will get all over everything. Use my drill press to pre-drill the holes. Drop screws all over the place. And then I put about 2 or 3 on each side, and top and bottom, make sure that that steel's going to stay on there. And this is really at the time I started gaining the most momentum, because my ideas started really coming together. As you can see, it started looking really sweet. Now I'm using my router to make holes for my hinges. I know they have a bit to make the specific hole for these hinges. I didn't have that, so I just kind of traced out how big of a hole I needed and used my punch router, my hand router, to make a hole. I didn't know what I wanted to do for the top. I had a bunch of spare wood, so I figured I might as well slap a bunch of them together, glue it up, sand it all even because they're different widths. So I had to do a lot of sanding to make it even on one side. And then I figured out if I flip it over, because that's how I glued it together, it was even on that side. So all this sanding was almost for nothing. Learn from your mistakes. Used a drill bit to make a hole, and then I used my jigsaw to go around. Here's my hole for the top of the garbage. And then I ended up taking a router, running it around the top to smooth it. And as you see that T-bar on the bottom, that's a really nice plan that I got from a guy online, because you always know your measurement. It's going to be a straight edge. I'm sick of clamping down straight edges for my circular saw. So that is a really slick way to do it. Saved me tons of time. And here's my shop mouse. Came to visit me a few nights. Isn't he cute? A little skittish though. He comes out and helps me at night, I think. Sanding off my sharp edges. Pop around. And this is an idea I had as I was working on it. I used some clear stain. I coated it 3 times. Make it kind of shiny. And I had some really thin cutoffs I actually used to do a wrap. So you kind of hide the edges of these boards. Real thin. So I thought that kind of gave it a cool look. Here I am attaching to the doors for the first time. They come with stencils, so I was able to measure out and pre-drill my holes. And it shuts, and we have clearance. Again, this project took probably 2 months, few hours here and there at night. I mean, I never want to make these things again. And I'm probably not going to charge my brother anything for it except materials and very little on time. Give the top a good stain, and then I do spray the inside with clear stain because, you know, icky garbage is going to go in there and there's going to be moisture, so I want it to hold up as long as it can. Here I am attaching the backer boards, I'll call them. Really cool live edge wood that I had laying around. I think it gives it a cool touch. They're not quite like going to be like anything you've ever seen before. And I'm so proud of these. I'm so happy they turned out the way they did. I mean, it was just an idea in my head. My brother said he wanted them. I drew them out. All this extra work to make the corrugated steel on the inside of these frames. I could have just slapped some wood together and been done, but I wanted to go the extra mile. I wanted people to walk into this shop and say, wow, their garbage cans even look awesome. Appreciate you watching. If you want to see more original ideas like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Keeps me busy. Again, full-time job as a physical therapy assistant. I just do this stuff on the side. It's fun. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you later.